Can you, great teacher, can you listen to me?
I can listen to you clearly. Yes, yes, yes. At times it sounded
Okay.
broken a bit, but now it sounds okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sure, I can hear you. Okay, perfect. I'm great, teacher. And you?
Fine too. Thank you very much. Last week was very busy, very hectic. Lots of
Yeah,
activities right and left.
yeah. Sometimes that happens, but well, I prefer to be busy that that not being busy.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Idleness normally provokes other problems, so it's better to be busy than to be idle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How was your was a course or what was the you had classes before?
It was not a class, it was a meeting with the classmates of the doctoral degree and the tutor who are organizing an event for next 29th of May in Aguascalientes. And the issue is that we're preparing certain debates about different topics of social economy.
Mm,
And some of the topics, well, every table is a table of discussion, a round table for discussion of topics.
yeah,
One of them is about extractivism and neo extractivism, in which that's my table, in which companies come to Mexico, not necessarily from other countries, but from other places. For example, in the agave industry,
hmm,
companies from Jalisco come to Guanajuato, rent their parcels or their tracts of land,
yeah,
cultivate agave, but the problem is that that causes deforestation, erosion of the soil, the waste of the agave plants. For every kilogram of agave, useful agave, I'm sorry, there are 7 portions which become what they call vinazas, which is a waste. They normally dump that in the sewage, and that contaminates the water dramatically. So it's one of the most polluting industries, and unfortunately, it's not by businessmen of Guanajuato. Most of them are businessmen from Jalisco, and they have their tequileras that rent your land and
yeah.
then erode it.
Hmm.
And so that's one of the tables. That's called extractivism. That's also the topic of my thesis. The other one is the work for women, how women should participate more and more in the work atmosphere. And that is valid. I mean, every all of us are surrounded by women, right? My mom is a woman, my daughters are women, classmates, friends, etc. So it's okay that women participate equally in the work area, right?
Yeah, of course.
So that's the second table. Another table is about what is this table? I think it's about about how the honey producers connect with each other and connect and make networks for work and distribution of honey. Normally, there are great big how do we call this, recruiters or people who collectors of honey.
Hmm.
They collect your honey. You are a small producer, and I
Yeah,
collect your honey. I pay you the least I can, and then I send it to retail, and then I make a huge profit. But you don't,
yeah,
because you don't have many people where to sell your honey. So I collect it from you, from the other guy, from the other guy, from all the people who produce small amounts of honey. I am the big collector. I collect all the honey as I can, and then I market it with my power of marketing, and then I make a lot of profit, but the other guys don't. So those are more or less the tables, Mickey, that we're going to structure for next May 29th. But today we had a meeting to discuss those topics. So it was really
yeah.
entertaining.
Sounds very interesting, and yeah, it's great that people like you is thinking about um, those problems because I don't know. I consider that Mexico needs in general um, like more analysis of different topics, and I'm glad that, for example, people like you is doing it. So it's
Thank
perfect,
you.
teacher.
Thank you very much, Mickey. Well, the reason really is that at the end, we are all in the same boat, right? If we let it sink, all of us are going to drown. So somebody
Yeah.
needs to start doing things. And that's part of the program. I think it's a good program. It's called doctoral DS, Doctorado Interinstitucional en Economía Social Solidaria. And that's a great program, Mickey. If you have a chance when you finish your master's, probably take a look. Might be interesting for you. You get a scholarship from CONACYT, which is more or less generous. They give like close to 19,000 per month as a scholarship,
That's
and
right.
they pay you to study, right?
Mhm.
So why
You are
not
now
consider?
in Conacyt, right?
Yes, yes, yes. I am being paid by CONACYT
That's right.
to do this research, and the idea is that you contribute with this research to the betterment, to the improvement of the country, right? It's not just a free allowance. Is I am supposed to give something back to the government, and that is the fruit of my research. What I find out um, is exactly what should be of benefit to the society. In reality, that's the commitment, right? I
Yeah,
get a
of course.
scholarship from the government, and I give something back. Of course, is
Hmm.
that's only fair. But yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy because most of the topics are in the benefit of the society, supposed to be, or they need to be for the benefit of society, Mickey.
That's great, teacher. And how to say, how long do you have to finish your doctoral degree?
It's 4 years already. I have already been a year and a half, year and yeah, almost year and a half in it. So 2.5 more years, and I'll be done. First God, of course. Uh, but yeah, it's a 4 year program.
4 years.
Yeah, they go fast because they don't necessarily require. I mean, you need to be committed and do the best you can. Uh, but well, I mean, you can do other things. It's not only that you need to devote 100% of your time to the doctoral degree, which actually it goes fast if you like it. If you
Yeah.
choose a topic that you like, it will look like you're having fun.
Hmm.
So really shouldn't be difficult. And there are lots of social topics, but plenty. I mean, everything is social, really. We live in
Yeah.
society, so everything is social. You do a research about the topic that you like. Your tutor will tell you, "Well, Mickey, yes, it's great," or Why don't you think about this?" Or sometimes they have certain lines. For example, some people like to investigate about agriculture, some others about technology, some others about social conflicts, social movements, social betterment, social aid. And there are lots of topics that you can propose if you were interested.
Yeah, of course. And you're studying at the University of Aguascalientes, right?
Yes, but the program includes the University of Guanajuato, the University of Aguascalientes, the University of Michoacán, and the University of Colima. At the moment, there are no students from Colima, only three students from Aguascalientes, which is me and two other guys, two from Guanajuato, and two from Michoacán. We're a total of three, four, four. No, I'm sorry, three, two, two, three, two. We are seven students
In all the programs of the doctoral degree?
in this generation. In this
Wow.
generation, yeah, and they make a selection mostly because there is a scholarship,
Yeah, of
so
course.
they have been limiting. Of course, if somebody wants to study without the scholarship, without the benefit, it is also a possibility. The only thing is that they don't give you the sponsorship or the
Hmm.
scholarship,
Yeah, of
which is
course.
good because I mean people
And
need something.
you received that scholarship during all the period that you're studying it?
Exactly, yes, yes, during the 4 years.
That's great.
Yeah, yeah, it's really really generous, and it's yeah, it's really fabulous, fabulous, and it's competitive. Yes, you need to make a test, a test about knowledge with knowledge, a knowledge test on general knowledge.
Hmm.
You need to have a certain degree of English, which is not really demanding. It's 400 points in TOEFL, or like I have a certificate called CENI, which is Centro Nacional de Inglés, which is part of the Secretary of Education. So
Mm.
they waived my TOEFL. They said, you don't need it if you have this certificate. Oh, perfect. So I need to take the question, the test in English, the English test. And you need to present a project, something that is of your interest, that has something to do with society. Uh, what else? Mm, yeah, and you need to choose a tutor. And to choose a tutor is a good idea that you go to the place first and talk to them and tell them, look, I want to do a doctoral degree. Which are the topics of interest for you? Because I have these topics of interest. And you more or less negotiate the topic.
Okay. So at the end, you need to present like a final project, um, and well, you are developing during all the doctoral degree, right?
Exactly right. Yes, yes, yes. You develop it from day one. Actually, you present it to be accepted into the university.
Hmm.
Let's say that, I don't know. I know that there are many topics that you like. Uh, let's say just guessing, right? That you like the improvement of education in poor communities. Let's say that, right? So you
Yeah.
want to establish like networks of better infrastructure in communities with no resources. Well, you talk to your tutor, you tell them, look, this is what I'm interested in. Oh, well, that is part of this line of research that I have or that this person has. And then they tell you, okay, well, that will be your protocol. They call it protocol of thesis. And you advancing it throughout the years, throughout the semesters, and you make progress. And I think it would be nice because actually you don't have to go every day. You don't have to live there. You go like once a week. Sometimes it's online. So I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's really they give you the opportunities. They give you facilities to do it. Mickey. So
Yeah, if you manage correctly your time, it is possible.
well, that's the key. You need to manage your time efficiently. That's true. But
And
I'm very happy. Truly, very very
yeah,
happy.
I imagine. And so, and you receive classes, like online, or how it works.
Yeah, they're called seminars, which is really classes in which there are readings that they ask you to read. You read about this topic, this, and that. They tell you these are the writers, these are the recommended readings. You do them. Sometimes they ask you to do essays about them. Sometimes they ask you to just discuss what you think. Um, for example, there is a French writer called Bourdieu. Bourdieu wrote lots of things about the stratification of society. You have the upper class, the middle class, the lower class, etc.
Hmm.
He said, we once read a little bit about him, remember? Monsieur
Hmm.
Bourdieu, Pierre Bourdieu. And he made this book about the taste. Well, in this book, he says that the taste has a cultural connotation and a class connotation. So you do the readings that he has written, and then you submit your comments. Well, I think that he's right, or I think that he's wrong. I like this point of view that he mentioned, but I don't like this. I think in Mexico, we see a very strict stratification of classes. You submit your comments and then it's discussed with your classmates and the tutor. And sometimes they invite teachers from other universities. So one teacher from San Nicolas Hidalgo in Michoacan will teach a seminar. Sometimes will be another person. Sometimes they'll invite people from Mexico City, for example, from Ibero, Mexico, to give a seminar. So we have very good people, really,
That's great.
that has a lot of experience and also knowledge. So I'm really happy about it. And honestly, it's everything except difficult. Yeah, you need time, you need commitment, but I mean, you need commitment in anything you do, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, it's great. And what is the average, like the age of the people that is studying the doctoral?
Well, that's a good question. In my generation, I'm the oldest one. I am 57, but Hugo is like 44. Patty, the other partner, she's what, 35, I think.
Mhm.
So you start a doctoral degree at 23, 24, 25. that'd be a fantastic age because then you start early,
Yeah,
and
of course.
obviously you can maintain, you can keep your business or other ideas that you have, but it depends mostly on what you want to do, right? Really, because
Hmm.
some people like doing research, and then for example, sooner or later, like in my case in June, I need to start going to the communities, doing interviews, uh, talking with people and finding out what their situation truly is inside, right? Because now everything up to now has been theoretical in my case,
Yeah.
right? The case of the other guy, Hugo, who's a smart guy, very smart kid, he's a smart man. He's not a kid, he's a man. He has been visiting communities already, and so he already has some on the side experience, which is really good. And I'm going to start doing this in June. I'm going to start going to the communities in Pénjamo and interviewing growers of agave and asking how their experience is or has been and documenting that. So the good part is about to start. That's what my point, Mickey.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's great, teacher. It sounds really interesting. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. Well, maybe there is an opportunity for people like you who are very curious and smart and they like to do some benefit to deliver some benefit to the community. You don't need to go to a doctoral degree to help the community, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I
But
know.
if you receive a little bit of support from the government, like a scholarship, etc., what's wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
It's better that they use that money in these programs that they use it sponsoring campaigns of nutrition.
Yeah, I know. But well, that's great, teacher. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mickey. I have a little questionnaire about reforestation because I believe, excuse me, I believe that
Yeah.
reforestation is becoming one of the most necessary activities for people in general. And let's see what your point of view is about these simple questions. Let me share them with you.
Hmm.
So let's read the first one, Mickey, please. What's your idea of reforestation?
What is reforestation? The process of deforesting an area for agricultural purposes, the restoration or replanting of forests that have been degraded or destroyed, the conservation of existing forests without any additional planting efforts, the study of forest ecosystems and their biodiversity.
Which one is the right answer in your opinion?
I think that you stop sharing, right?
Did I?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, let me. I'm sorry. Here we go. Here. All right, there. Okay, I'm sorry.
I think that is the letter B.
Let it be. That's right. That's right. Restoration or replanting of forests. I just posted a news from a friend who said I got that from Facebook that in where Korea and Japan, in one of these countries, they just replanted 3.2 million trees in 1 hour. What do you think of that?
Well, it's great. It's something that we need to apply here in Mexico and in so many countries. I have seen uh, in Google Maps when I'm like looking the on a specific street or in a specific part of the city, and you know that you can see like the how can I say this, like the process. It appears like the same city in 2010, then 2015, and there are cities where the how to say the I forget the word. How do you say camellones?
The alleys, street alleys.
The street alleys in the past had at least plants or trees, and now are empty. So I think that it's important to, in a way, like adopt these alleys and replant because we can see it that there's no raining.
Yeah, yeah, that's very, very serious. And that's causing a serious problem. You see the wave of heat that we've been suffering the last few weeks is because of the lack of trees.
Yeah, it's horrible. Actually, uh, when was the last Sunday? I went to a concert in Leon, and it was in the Domo de la Feria. I don't know how to say it, Domo.
Dome in the
Dome,
dome.
and it was full of people. I think that the concert was almost instantly sold out, and there's no windows there. So imagine the heat. Uh,
Okay.
I really like the artists who performed there, but I prefer to go out before the concert ended for the same reason because the heat was horrible. And yeah, I was a little bit disappointed because it was an artist that I was really waiting, but the place, well, the venue uh, doesn't help to the concert. Apart of that, the sound it wasn't very good, but yeah, the heat is horrible.
I imagine. I imagine. And they didn't have any air conditioning or service similar to that.
Nothing.
Jeez.
Oh, it's that place is so. Um, I don't know how many years has this place, but now it's not in conditions to receive concerts and yeah, actually this week I saw that two concerts that's gonna be in Leon. It's gonna be in the same place, and it's like wow, how it is possible that the government or the same organizers, uh, permit to do the concert there because it's horrible. I prefer, for example, the what's the name, Foro del Lago in Explora. You know,
Okay. Yeah. 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 I've seen that. I've seen that.
yeah, it's better because it's in the outside, and well, it's better than being just in a dome without windows.
Well, I know they have so much technology that they can adapt some loudspeakers so that the sound can really get to everyone. I believe that the only advantage of being indoors as opposed to being outdoors is that when you are indoors, the design, the concave in design of the space allows for everyone to listen to the song clearly in every place where you are,
Hmm.
as opposed to being outdoors. When you're outdoors, obviously you lose some of the sound because there is no bouncing. The
Yeah.
sound doesn't bounce in the roof because there's no roof. But with
Hmm.
the loudspeakers that you can install in different places, it's totally
Yeah.
acceptable to have the event outdoors, right?
Yeah, it's horrible, but well, the heat is the problem.
Yeah, well, it's a pity. Let's do the second one, Mickey, please. Can you please read it?
Yeah. Which of the following is a primary benefit of reforestation? Increased urbanization, decreased biodiversity, soil erosion prevention, increased carbon emissions. Mm, I would say soil erosion prevention.
Yeah, this is overpassed or over is foreseen by many specialists and experts, but really eroding the soil is one of the growing problems that we're ignoring. We're ignoring because it takes long time, but when it's totally eroded, it is a very difficult problem to surmount or to revert. How can you revert a problem of soil erosion that's going to be eroded for decades? That's very serious. What could we do to prevent that?
Well, yeah, I think that the only way to uh, prevent soil erosion is, well, first reforestation, and I think that the soil could be eroded uh, when the growers don't change the seeds, right?
Yeah, 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 exactly. They don't rotate the crops. Yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
That's actually correct. You need to rotate your crops. If you are planting one season broccoli, the next season you're supposed to plant corn or you plant onions. The thing is that bacteria and microorganisms get adapted to the germs become stronger when you don't change the crop. So that's one of the reasons why you need to rotate crops constantly. Um, so ways to, for example, plant vegetation. What do you think? I know that is not our topic, but what do you think about planting just any kind of plants? Or do you think there are plants that are compatible, Mickey?
Mm, well, of course, I think that it's necessary to uh, analyze the environment, the weather, the conditions that uh, the soil has too. I think that it is not possible just plant trees or plants just for planted. I think that it's necessary to do an analysis and knowing that, for example, certain type of plants would uh, prevail or survive in certain weathers and others not.
Exactly, exactly. For example, there is a concept that I didn't know that it existed, but I learned that there is this concept, which is uh, plant competition. Can you please read it and tell me what you think about it,
Yeah.
please?
Competition. Certain plants may release allelopathic chemicals that inhibit the growth of neighboring plants. Compatibility considers the potential for competition or cooperation between different species.
What do you think?
Mhm. Yeah, it is true. I noticed that in uh, one time we had a little plant in the garden, and this plant was taking almost all the space of the garden, and other plants couldn't grow. I think that for the same reason because the other plants just uh, I don't know, in a way like they dominate like the the space, and other plants could not survive.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Now, it's not always good to make comparisons, but sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it's fun. Right?
Yeah.
Can we make an analogy of these plants to people? How would it be? How would you make an allegory or analogy?
Yeah, of course. I think that there are so many examples that we can apply here. Yeah. Mm, what could be a good one?
Let's take it in a positive way. A garden or a society in which people can relate to each other in a friendly, positive way, a nurturing way in which everyone can grow. That should be possible. Right?
Yeah, but I don't know. For example, in the negative way, could be like uh, there are uh, medicine students who wants to do their practices uh, in the IMSS and probably just accept people who have families there working or people who knows the chief of the hospital. I don't know, but yeah, in occasions in the same city, other people don't let the others grow. So yeah, it applies in plants too.
Could be. Yeah, that's absolutely possible, right? So, same as
Yeah,
plants, humans compete for space. Sometimes they cooperate, and
crops.
sometimes, as it is, they compete, right?
Yeah.
Competition.
Can you listen me clearly, sure? I don't know if it is my internet. The issue is that my mom is taking another call, video call too, and I think that she's using obviously the internet, and probably that's why I don't know if I'm frozen a little bit, but you can hear me clearly or not?
I can hear you clearly. Yeah, a few minutes ago you sounded a bit broken, just a little bit, and it could have been mine as well, because sometimes my signal is not completely full, like 80%. So it could be
Mhm.
mine, but I
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you very clearly now.
Perfect, sure. Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thanks. In parentheses, Mickey, about the topic that we're discussing, there's a guy by the name of Piotr or Peter Kropotkin. Can you Google him, please, really quick to see what? But Google him, like looking for his opinions about Darwin. If you can do that, please.
About Darwin?
Darwin, what he thinks about Darwin's theories. Or what does he think about Darwin? And you're going to be surprised about his work on cooperation as
This
opposed to
person
competition.
is who talk about the humans and the species normally cooperate instead of the
Compete.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's him. That's him. I think we've talked about him once
Yeah,
here.
one time I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me search it.
Yes. Yes, Mickey. Thank you.
Fyodor Kropotkin opinions about Darwinism. Mm, yeah, I found here something.
Ah,
Yeah,
can you share
let
it,
me
please?
share it. Yeah,
All right.
can you see it?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm adding it to the. Okay. Perfect. The Prince of Evolution. Oh, the Prince of Evolution. Now they gave him a title.
Yeah. Well, this research is of 2011.
um, the book, but Kropotkin's theories belong to the beginning of the 20th century, 1902, 1903. So
Okay.
this guy is analyzing Kropotkin's theories 100 years later.
Yeah. Well, here says a little bit about his biography, but uh, mm,
Oh, there it is. Peter's
sure.
theory.
Yeah. Peter's theory of mutilate came to him in the most unlikely of places. To follow in the footsteps of his hero, Alexander von Humboldt, when he was 20 years old, Kropotkin began a series of expeditions in Siberia. At that point, he was already an avowed evolutionary biologist, one of the few in Russia, and a great admirer of Darwin and his theory of natural selection. 50,000 miles later, and 5 years the wiser, Kropotkin left Siberia a Darwinian. But he was a very different kind of evolutionary biologist, a new species of sort. For in Siberia, Kropotkin hadn't found what he had expected to find. Though still in its early gestation period when Kropotkin began his journey through Siberia, evolutionary theory of the day advanced that the natural world was a brutal place. Competition was the driving force. And so, in the icy wilderness, Peter expected to witness natural red in tooth and claw. He searched for it. He studied flocks of migrating birds and mammals, fish schools, and insect societies. What he found was the competition was virtually non-existent. Instead, in every nook and cranny of the animal world, he encountered mutual aid. Individuals huddled for warmth, fed one another, and warded their groups from danger, all seeming to be cogs in a larger cooperative society. In all the scenes of animal lives, which passed before my eyes. Kropotkin wrote, I saw mutual aid, mutual support, carry on to an extent which made me suspect in it a future of the greatest importance for the maintenance of life, the preservation of each species, and its future evolution. Kropotkin didn't limit his studies to animals alone. He cherished, how can I,
Cherished. He
cherished?
enjoyed, cherished, he took pride, he took joy.
Okay. He cherished his time in peasant villages with their sense of community and cooperation. In these small Siberian villages, Kropotkin began to understand the inner springs of the life of human society. There, by observing the constructive work of the unknown masses, the young scientist witnessed human cooperation and altruism in its purest form. The conflict then arose in trying to align his observations with Darwinian theory, while he might easily have abandoned evolutionary thinking altogether, joining many other Russian scientists in dismissing Darwin's ideas as nothing more than Victorian smoke and mirrors. Kropotkin understood that evolutionary thinking could explain the diversity of life he saw around him, and so he set up the tightrope on which he would balance for the rest of his life. Continue?
Yes, please. I think just this last one paragraph.
Yeah. He advocated that natural selection was the driving force that shaped life, but that Darwin's ideas had been perverted and misrepresented by British scientists. Natural selection, Kropotkin argued, led to mutual aid, not competition, among individuals. Natural selection favored societies in which mutual aid thrived, and individuals in these societies had an innate predisposition to mutual aid because natural selection had favored such actions. Kropotkin even coined a new scientific term, progressive evolution, to describe how mutual aid became the sine qua non
Yeah. The
of all.
absolutely necessary element, indispensable.
Sine qua non means that?
Sine qua non. Yeah, it's from Latin.
Sine qua non of all societal life, animal and human. Years later, with the help of others, Kropotkin would formalize the idea that mutual aid was a biological law, with many implications, but the seeds were first sown in Siberia.
Yeah. It's amazing how this great scientist has not been so popular as others. Darwin, for once, right?
Yeah, of
And
course.
it may have been that really Darwin's ideas had been perverted or they have been wrong from day one. The fact is that this aspect of mutual aid that Kropotkin proposes in his book more than 100 years ago is prevalent now and is the object of study of many scholars and researchers. Uh, that also has an impact in the way how we view society and how we view businesses. If we consider that societies grow by personal effort alone, then we are aligning the way of thinking in one direction. If we think that we can collaborate with others, we can collaborate with our friends, family, with society in general, we conform a community, that's another direction. And so if you allow the thought of a person prevail and impede the other one or the opposite, that has definite effects in society. I don't know what you think about this comment, Mickey. I mean, it's like choosing how to hunt. Do you
Mhm.
prefer to hunt alone, or do you prefer to hunt in a flock, in a group?
Yeah.
I don't know. Would it be a personal choice? What do you think?
Yeah, of course. Well, I just have read a little bit of his theory, and well, here we can know more or less what he wants to show with his theory. I don't know why it wasn't so popular in that time. I don't know if if being Russian was something or why, um, but yeah, as you mentioned, I think that in society we need to learn how to cooperate instead of just competition. I think that uh, the countries that are now um, like how to say uh,
Leading the world.
yeah, exactly, are for the same reason because in a way or other they are cooperating and yeah, I think that we need to see the other people not just like a competition but try to uh, yeah, to change a little bit our mindset. I think so because here in Mexico, I think that yeah, we have this mindset of just competition and you win and the other lose, you know. So I think that it's important to yeah, to change that mindset.
Yes, that's very true, and we should start by showing the example as we must, as we not must do, but as we normally, as people normally do when they want to show the path, the way, right, to become leaders. And that's a truly interesting topic. There is a famous book, let's see if we can find it, called The Commons, The Management of the Commons, the Administration of the Commons, uh, by Harding Garrett. Oh, Garrett Harding, what's his name?
With
Harding,
management,
The Management of the Common Goods. Something which is not personal. Garrett Harding, The Tragedy of the Commons. Yeah, The Tragedy of the Commons is the book.
the tragedy,
The Tragedy of the Commons. If you
uh,
can please Google and find a summary of the book, really short summary.
written by Harden, Garrett Harden.
That's him. That's him exactly. Garrett Harding. Yeah. Yes.
Summary.
Summary. Yeah. Basically, what he says is that it's very difficult that a common object, let's say a common garden, let's say
Mm-hmm.
that there is in your county, in your colony, in the Los Arcos, there is a common garden, right?
Mm-hmm.
That does not belong to you, does not belong to the neighbor, does not belong to the other person. It is a common good.
Yeah,
That, according to him, it is impossible to manage to administer this type of common good. Let's see what it says in the summary, Mickey, please.
yeah. Explaining what is the tragedy of the commons.
Yes, please.
First, proceeded in 1968 by American ecologist Garrett Hardin, the tragedy of the commons describes a situation where shared environmental resources are overused and exploited and eventually depleted, posing risks to everyone involved. Hardin argues that to prevent this, there should be some restrictions to the amount of usage. For example, property rights must be affixed. What is the tragedy of the commons? The definition of the tragedy of the commons is an economic and environmental science problem where individuals have access to a shared resource and act in their own interest at the expense of other individuals. This can result in overconsumption, underinvestment, and depletion of resources.
Yeah, the idea is that if there is a common good, I will abuse it if I can, and my friend or neighbor will abuse it if he can, and at the end, all of us will destroy the common good. That's the theory.
Well, yeah. Mm.
Well, this was a very popular book from 1968 to our current era. But there is a lady who won the Economy Nobel Prize by the name of Elinor Ostrom. Can you please Google her, Elinor Ostrom, and how she refuted this book, the same as Kropotkin refuted Darwin's findings? Elinor Ostrom, another American scientist. I think she's American and Norwegian. The name is Norwegian.
Che?
That's her, exactly. Elinor Ostrom. And maybe a short summary or biography about her life and how she refuted the idea of the tragedy of the commons. Maybe.
She has a book called The Government Governing the Commons.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's the one. Maybe a summary. Exactly. Oh, awesome. It's
Mm, well, here is. her biography, but until here it appears. Yeah.
Okay, I think it shows something there. Yes, in governing the commons.
In governing the commons, the evolution of institutions for collective action, she sets out to develop a series of empirical studies of groundwater basins to provide a broader theory of institutional arrangements related to the effective governance and management of common pool resources.
Yeah, what these scientists refer to is you have a dam that has water. How are you going to manage it so that the dam always contains water, right? You don't want to empty it and get rid of the water. You have cows. I have cows. Your dad, my mom, different friends have cows, and we're going to ask them. We're going to put them in a big field to graze. So the
Yeah.
cows are going to be grazing, are going to be eating grass, but we don't want to destroy it, right? So the idea that Elinor Ostrom has is that it is possible that we, as intelligent people, organize ourselves and decide on policies to preserve our field, and not that all our cows will empty the grass, the fields by grazing with overconsumption. That's more or less the idea.
Well, yeah, I think that probably that's the issue, at least here in Mexico and I imagine in other countries too,
Yeah.
that there's not so many policies who really wants to, in a way, like prevail the natural resources. I think that they're just giving concessions of everything, and well, they don't have control of that. So yeah, it makes sense. Probably with better policies, uh, yeah, we'll have another result.
Let's say that you one day that the one day that you become the secretary of territorial ordainment, or the environmental secretary, and people, friends or acquaintances, have
Mhm.
parcels of agave or other crops that erode the soil because they put very aggressive chemicals. They don't care really if after the harvest I get all my agave, I convert them into tequila, and I make fortunes with that. And the soil, I don't care. I just give it back to the person who rented me the land, totally destroy, and he will have to wait 1 or 2 years for the soil to restore itself. Um, how would you arrange for people to have policies that all the tenants should obey? How would you do, Mickey, to to provide regulations that protect the environment?
Uh, well, I think that at the beginning, putting fines.
Well,
Yeah, because for example, there's no comparison, but uh, do you remember in the Cuarto Cinturón when the the transit officers were like hidden, in the Cuarto Cinturón? People really uh, decreased their speed when they were driving there for the same reason, because they know that if the transit officer uh, sees that they are exceeding the speed limit, they're gonna receive a fine. So probably I would say that um, putting fines that really represents the damage that they are doing. I think so.
yeah, that's one of the policies. That's actually punitive actions are sometimes necessary, and are the best, very often the best deterrent for different offenses. Let's say eroding the soil, polluting the water. How about some affirmative actions, things that people must do? What would you ask people to do to protect the soil, the environment, the water? Maybe building dams, cleaning rivers, uh, potabilizing water,
Mhm.
desalinating water. What would you ask of companies to do to protect the soil and the forests of the region?
Uh, well, yeah, probably uh, uh, a part of that solution of the of the fines, probably that the companies or the different people who's using certain amount of land or of natural resources, probably in a way like trying to, if there are trees or if they are just deforesting, well, in a way try to reforest other parts or try to um, not destroy everything. I think that probably is related with the fines, with fines, but yeah, try to keep control and not just I don't know. Let's imagine that there's a certain amount of land and just destroy it for get the natural resources. So try to establish control between the government, the concessions, and the companies there, and in a way, uh, yeah, try to revert uh, that destruction. I think so. Obviously, reforesting or um, cleaning the rivers, the dams. I don't know. There are different. There are so many things that can be applied. I think so.
Yeah, totally true. I absolutely like the idea, and it's just doing it, right? We just need to go ahead and do it. It's necessary. It's
Yes.
something that we must do, or else, right? Or else, if we don't
Mm.
do it, we will suffer the consequences. We are already suffering some of the consequences with this wave of heat, and it's clearly because of the lack of green areas.
Yeah.
Um, let's take a look at this question number three. Well, we're only in question number three, but anyways, we're discussing it.
Yeah. Uh, who typically participates in reforestation efforts? Only government entities, only environmental organizations, only forestry professionals, individuals, communities, and various organizations. Well, it's supposed that individuals, communities, and various organizations.
Yeah. What would be a convincing argument for youngsters, let's say people in the school, students, kids, or even everyone? How would we convince the different sectors of society to contribute by planting trees, reforesting the streets, the parks, the gardens, the empty tracts of land, even if they're empty, they had some vegetation. What would be a convincing argument?
Well, I think that we are living the consequences of the excess of deforestation, of the excess of pollution in general. So in a way, I think that it's important to make people, and in this case, kids and young people, uh, being aware of the problem because they are living it too.
Yeah,
So I think that it's important to understand that probably it's a little bit late to try to uh, just from just one day to other change or way of living, but it is so necessary because well we are suffering the consequences, and in the future, well, if we don't change, the consequences will be worst. One time I read that people were like claiming about the weather that is horrible, the heat, but well, probably that's gonna be the how can I say it, the best temperature that we're gonna live if if we continue with this way of living with this the companies in general, because well, obviously, if there's no trees, if there's no rain, the temperature will increase and increase. So it is important to understand that and do a change.
yeah, that's a must. Totally true, Mickey. Let's see one of the methods used in reforestation projects. That's in number four, please. Can you read it, Mickey,
Yeah.
please?
What is one common method used in reforestation projects? Mining, urbanization, clear cutting, tree planting or seeding. Well, tree planting or seeding.
Yeah. What do you plant them? Yeah, we know maybe parks, gardens. How about streets, in the sidewalks of streets? Would you say this is an advisable practice, or what do you think?
Well, yeah, actually, I think that yesterday I saw news on the internet, and it appears I don't remember exactly in which city, but there were people who were breaking the alleys to plant trees for the same reason that the alleys don't have uh, any type of plant. So yeah, I think that it's important to, in a way, yeah, demand to our government to change that and now start to plant more trees. And obviously, not just the government, in cooperation with the society and the different organizations. And I think that we can do a good job. I think so. Still being possible.
Yeah, yeah, never lose hope, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, number five says, why is community involvement important in reforestation projects? What do you think? Why that is important, Mickey?
To increase deforestation rates, to improve soil quality, to enhance biodiversity, to ensure project sustainability and local support. Um, well, to ensure project sustainability and local support.
Yeah. What is the? Let me take this call really quick, Mickey.
Yes,
Stay
don't
with
worry.
me,
Yeah.
really, really quick, please. Sorry, Mickey. Yeah. Um, yeah, we were saying why it is important for communities to have a local support, right? Why is that important that people are involved in these projects?
Because in a way, people is not involved. In occasions, people is not aware to either. Sorry, of the problem. So I think that when you make the people involved, I think that it's easier that that people probably attracts more people and and it's like a little chain that is growing, 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 growing.
Yeah, that is true. Now, question number six talks about some of the challenges. Can you please read it?
Yeah.
And
Which of the following is a challenge often faced in reforestation efforts? Excessive tree growth, soil conservation, lack of only resources, increased wildlife habitat. Mm, Probably the soil conservation.
soil conservation can be a habitat. How to? Well, I'm sorry, can be a challenge. Yeah, also possibly when people don't have funds, like, well, let's plant trees, but where are the trees? Or where do we get the trees from?
Yeah.
For example, I did not import, but I brought 20 trees from Chiapas. They were called red oak,
Mhm.
roble, cedro rojo, cedar. I'm sorry, no, it's not an oak, it's a cedar.
Mhm.
Red cedar. It's an extremely beautiful tree. They came as small sticks, like 20 centimeter sticks, with no leaves, no nothing, in a with a little bit of soil.
Yeah.
And now they are grown up. They're starting to be tall. The leaves, the span of the leaves is like 60 centimeters. Now they're starting to look beautiful, but
Wow.
they don't cost me cheap. They cost. I mean, I paid over what for 20 trees. I paid over 1,500 pesos. Thank God I can afford that, right? And they are looking beautiful. They're looking really beautiful. But the delivery cost, the cost of the trees themselves, the maintenance. So it is not that you say, "Ah, that's totally cheap." Yeah, it is true that the government gives you trees for free. But if you want to plant the trees that you love, they're going
Yeah,
to
of
cost
course.
you a little. What do you
Mhm.
think?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. For example, I remember. It was like 2 or 3 years ago that there was a campaign of reforest the um El Cerro de Piloncillo, and there were
Oh,
trees, but now are just dry. Everything is dry because they don't continue with that. They don't put the enough water, so the little trees that were planting there just
dried.
dried. Yeah,
Gee. Yeah, it must be sustainable. In other words, there must be uh, the discipline of following up, watering them, maintaining the trees, feeding them, nurturing them. And it sounds easy, but it's not always easy because who does it, right?
yeah,
Who's
exactly.
in charge?
hmm That's the issue that people, including me, sometimes, we are like waiting that someone else put the example and then continue. But yeah, I think that it's necessary to change that mindset and start. Uh, well, in this case, myself, and in consequence, probably other people would follow what we're doing.
Yeah, well, I have my 10. No, I have 12 trees survived. 12 trees out of 20 survived. And I
12.
haven't, but I have them in buckets. They are not
Mhm.
planted yet. I have them in buckets. They're growing, growing, growing. They're extremely beautiful. I'm going to take a picture later and post it in Facebook. But
I
they're
think that one time I saw in your WhatsApp status that you make a video. There were the trees.
those were the trees. Exactly.
Those were the
Exactly.
trees. Yeah.
Yes, 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 they were. Those were the
Looks great.
trees. Yes. And they are growing and they're looking so beautiful that I
And
now started to develop a little bit of anxiety as where am I going to plant them? Where am I going to plant those beautiful trees? I'm falling in love with the trees and they're in my mom's garden, but they're starting to grow. And my mom is sending me hints like, what's going to happen with your trees?
yeah, of course.
Because they are so big, they grow so big that they
Yeah,
cannot. My
stay
mom
there.
cannot afford to have them here, right? They can stay here, so I need to choose a beautiful place to plant them, and they grow big and beautiful. They are called red cedars, cedro rojo, and
Red
they're from
sea.
Chiapas. And I never thought they would be able to adapt to the climate of Guanajuato, but they were. Now they are growing big and healthy, so they managed to adapt themselves.
Red cedars. Oh yeah. I think that wood is expensive too, right?
It's very expensive, yes. The wood is a fine wood to make furniture,
Yeah.
but of course, I'm not planning to chop them
No, I
anyway.
know, but
Yeah, but it's a fine wood, red cedar. You
wow.
can you can look it up, and it grows incredibly beautiful. Yeah, look where
And
they are.
are tall.
Yeah, they're tall,
Yeah,
and the foliage is very dense as well.
red cedar. Wow. Well, you have time to think about about it.
Yeah, that's true. Very good, Mickey. Okay, well, thanks very much for the discussion, for the comments, for the conversation, Mickey.
Thank you, teacher.
Talk to you soon, maybe Thursday.
Yes, teacher, on Thursday is perfect.
Yeah, because Friday I have to go to Aguascalientes again, so maybe
Yeah, I know.
Thursday if you have time in the morning.
Yes, teacher is perfect. Thank you very much for your time and have an excellent week.
You too, Mickey. Enjoy. Thank you. Take care and say hello to the family.
You too, teacher.